Shabbat Shalom, Yasharat, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Shalom, Mashpatah, Shalom Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom. Praise Yah. Uh, First time back in a long time. Feels like I think it's probably been about 4 months or so, but it definitely feels about like a year or two. And I just wanted to do a Shabbat reading. It's been a while since we've done the Nazarene Shabbat reading. I do them now with me, Yahuwah, and Yahusha. I can't say me, myself, and I. Yahuwah's present all the time. And lately it's just been a little difficult because it's been hot. And so, finding a nice shaded area has been hard. Barak Yahuwah. I didn't think it was going to be shaded here. You can tell it's shaded. Um, I'm freezing up. Yeah, I've been trying to find some shade. Shaded. And you might, the phone glitches, I wanted to, you remember the crown. I feel like a lot of people are wondering how I did that. Like, how did he make the eyes and the crown appear? Do you have some app? Is he maybe smarter than he looks, than we think? Like, no, that was a glitch. What happened on my end is what happened now. My phone just froze, for like a few seconds. The keeps freezing. And it just said, like, sorry, buffering, like, you know, can't make a connection. It was like phone has lost connection, trying to reconnect. That's what happened. And then I was like, hello, like, what's going on? And then, like, it was like for like 5 seconds, and it finally came back. I'm like, okay, looks like we're cool. That's when I was like, looks like we're cool, because it came back. Like, okay, it's working. And that's what you saw in the glitch. It's happening again. All right. Yeah, it keeps going off and on. Mind you, Satan is the prince of the world, so his power is heightened through 5G AI technology, not artificial intelligence, angelic intelligence. So he can penetrate through technology now, through the 5G waves, any kind of way you want through phone. So if my phone's acting crazy and funny and messing up and cuts off, obviously Yahuwah's not allowing, or he's allowing the enemy to mess with it. But I'm trusting Yahuwah is going to give us some compassion and favor to do this live. I know a lot of it has to do with the fact that Yahuwah doesn't want us on technology so much, on the devices. I actually have a kind of like a scar on my chest. It kind of went away, but I don't know if you can see it. But anyways, I had this scar. I had this scar on my chest where I kept having the phone like this, just from having the phone when I was reading scripture online, or Facebook, YouTube, or just looking up, just being on the phone. And so what happened is I was homeless for a while out here, and I kept the phone right here. And what ended up happening with the phone, like EMF frequency, whatever the thing has, the phone radiation, like combined, it burned my chest. Like, I got sunburn, but I had like this radiation burn right here, and it was weird. Like, it felt like I was sunburned for like 2 years, or like a year and a half right here, and it just stayed hot and tender, it never went away. It stayed like my skin stayed peeling, So I had to do a lot of petitioning and to Yahuwah to remove it, and I asked what it came from, and he was letting me know that it came from the phone. That the phone, the radiation. That's why you don't want to keep the phone in your ear. So it's kind of cool, maybe to Bluetooth, but maybe even the Bluetooth thing has something that connects you to the frequency, and with especially with the thing, the COVID thing that links you and makes you like the Clone Wars, the Code 66, right? Star Wars. They can just like impress any kind of code program on you, but it's gonna feel natural. Your mind's gonna already have rationalized justifications, rationalized reasons why you're doing what you're doing. The emotional state, the mental rationalizing, the feeling, the vibe, the rationalizing paradigm, like it looking like the right thing. It's gonna be, but really it could be a order 66. It's just gonna initiate. You're gonna feel like you gotta put these people down, that they're causing issues or whatever. But when you work Yahuwah, then that's when you know that the Bible's true. because when all they're doing is preaching, everybody's preaching their truth. But why is it that the word is so offensive? Because it's an eternal truth. And the devil's offended. And when you're connected to the devil, then you're offended. So that's a sign that you got a demonic spirit yoked with you that's pulling your strings. Because we're not puppets to a puppet master. The question is, who's pulling your strings? Is it the cosmic? Is it the cosmic 5G AI? Quantum realm, cosmic energy strings of Satan, or Yah the Creator. So the way you know is if you get agitated by people talking about the Word, the Bible. Why does that make you? For that. See? It get even the social construct that the reality itself gets agitated. Usually when you get revving engines from like cars and stuff, it always happens when I speak the word. Like 9 times out of 10, it's never just random. I start thinking on the word and I start sharing it, and then like cars start revving because like what does it say? The enemy Satan is like a roaring lion looking for who to devour. So like when you start speaking the word, he in the cosmic realm things like but then that kind of channels through reality and materializes through motorcycles and fast cars going vroom, you know what I'm saying, because it's like saying going like in the cosmic realm it's all reflected, it's all connected. Happens every time. Let him roar again. He's gonna roar because that's what he does. He gets mad because he can't deny himself. He's trying to hold it in now, but when he gets mad it's gonna have to manifest. It's in the fine print. It's in the fine print. Yeah. Police officers. Sometimes those are Yahuwah's messengers, to be honest. Ironically, it doesn't say in Romans that he gives you the governing authorities to punish those who are doing wrong, but to commend those, honor those who are doing right. So like I always see cops manifest when they got my back. So I see that as like Malakim chasing the enemy away. It's pretty cool. Helicopters show up and all kinds of cool stuff. Sometimes, praise yeah. But sometimes it's duality, double-edged sword. You got to be able to discern it. You can't just like go by what you're looking at. You got to discern the spirit, the ruach. You got to read the ones and zeros, the coding. We see that dynamic of duality. Like Yahusha uses the leaven. He says, "Beware the leaven of the Pharisees, the yeast of the Pharisees, because they teach false doctrine." But then he also says the word of Yahuwah is like leaven. He says the word of Yahuwah is like leaven that lady mixed into the flour till it leavened the entire lump, and she made bread out of it. So the word is like you penetrate every little part of reality till the entire world is leavened with the word of Yah. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm here to leaven the lump. I'm part of the yeast of the word of Yahuwah to try to leaven parts of the world that the word is not penetrating, that the people carrying the word not going, that the word is not. So that's what I'm doing here. Because it's a reflection. You do it in the loudest places, and in the loudest places all over, it copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. The word of Yahuwah seems to penetrate everywhere that it's like just where people want to feel comfortable and feel the vibe. For some reason, the word is right now is coming to them, wherever they're at, because it starts with the one source and then it copy pastes that reality, that blueprint. This is a blueprinting of reality, a projection hologram, and everywhere that's like this, they're now getting a version of me unseen of the word. It's just coming to them, thinking about the word. Today's a Sabbath day. I can just say it's a Sabbath day, rest on the day of Yah. So they can be wherever they're at and they can be like, man, we're out here doing this and that, but I feel like we're supposed to just go home and kick back and relax and just rest. Think about start doing the Sabbath on Saturday, the original day. So we're working right now. Yahusha is always working, and this is the work that I do, cosmic realm work. I'm not here for my own, joy, but I take joy in it. It's the work of Yah, praise Yah. So without further ado, enough about me. I'm gonna give y'all some nice, lovely scenic. I call it the scenic route because it's got a lot of scenery, a lot of beautiful people, like this, like the world, like the songs say, like Yahuwah made us in His image, and it's therapy. Beautiful people, and we're made in His image. So I feel like beautiful people definitely reflect His esteem, but everything's measurements. Yin and yang. Sometimes you may have the outward shell beautiful, but they might need the word of Yah. Maybe we might be filled with the word of Yah, but we lack the outer shell of His esteem. So everything is a balance. You can't have it both in this world. You can't have your cake and eat it. Boom, the enemy don't like when I bring out the truth like that. because I bring the balance. I lay out the math and I make it add up. So you're always going to see that the beautiful people are beautiful, but they like the word, and so they're maybe stressed out more, they're agitated more, they struggle more with like their emotional state, their mental state, lust and greed and anger and all kinds of stuff. But they carry the shell, the outer shell of Yahuwah's esteem, what it should look like. The beauty of his the loveliness of his creation. But we may not look so lovely, like we might be, obscure. Like it says, he chooses a peculiar people. We might be dark and obscure and this and that. Dark is a beautiful thing, but still, like, to standards. And I mean, golden hair is kind of cool, right? Blonde hair and all that. But nonetheless, we might not be as esteemed in the outer shell. The eye can tell you, the instincts will tell you, right, what is lovely and what's not. The esteem of the fitness of the makeup of the body. Um, all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, the math adds up because what we lack in the outer shell, we have the fullness of the Ruach, the divine eternal substance. We have the eternal peace, love, and joy and understanding of Yah. We're like, man, but we're rich. Like, you might be rich in this world. We're like wealthy, rich, like in eternity. Like, you have eternal wealth, like eternal peace, love, and joy. Like, we don't need funds to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, we feel like we're at a club that don't stop, party that don't stop, but drink. We feel like we're on a buzz that don't go away and a high that we don't come down from at all times. Praise Yah. And we get it from the word of Yah. We didn't have this before, but they can get it too. So that's where iron sharpens iron. We can't. I think a lot of people with the lower esteem lack reaching out to people with the better esteem because there might be a jealousy issue there. They might be like, oh well, they think they're so better because they're so genetically inclined and strong and beautiful and lovely, and they just, whatever, they're so into themselves. Hey, maybe they're not. Maybe they look like that, but maybe they put on that mask just as the parable of itself beautifies in loveliness, right? To hide that maybe they're lacking something inside, and maybe that's the word you got for them. Speaking the word, like, let them know that, hey man doesn't live by bread alone. I know you feel like you should be feeling number one because you look number one, but number one comes from number one, and number one is Yah. Yah is one. Saying Yahuwah, Yahusha, and the Ruach. And the man doesn't live by bread alone, or parabolically, materialistic things alone. Nothing in this world will satisfy, but by every word spoken by the mouth of Yah. You got to nurture your soul with the word. Every word he spoke in this book, it's divinely inspired. You don't believe it? Try it. Read it. But read it with an intention. Don't read it like you're reading an ingredients label. Read it like you're looking to get something out of it, like you read anything else, right? You read all these other things and you get a little high from it, but the roller coaster comes down and you always get left that bad side effect. Like, you know what? It's kind of meaningless. It took me to imagination land, but I feel like something idle, like it was just idle mindedness, like it just wasted my time. Yeah, it took me to a fantasy. Yeah, I got a nice charge. I went into a little dream world and read this book and read that, and I learned some lessons, but for the most part, I feel like I wasted a lot of time. Like, it was just idleness, and vanity, and not real substance. It brought me back down, and I'm itching for something else. I have a void for the next thing. The word of Yah does not do that. It leaves you wanting more of the word. You can read the same thing over and over and stay satisfied forever. It never gets old. Imagine reading the same little part of the story, and you might have that with certain books where you read the same story because you like a certain part, but then eventually those do get old. The word does not. There's something in it. The principle is divine. It's eternal truth. So it'll nourish you. It'll nourish you with eternal truth. Let me know if y'all can hear me, because I'm about to do a reading, and I want to make sure y'all can hear me, because I've had issues with that before. So I'm gonna do the Nazarim Shabbat reading, but I want to make sure y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me okay? Is the background too loud? Am I too loud? Is it just right? Anybody out there? Hello, shalom, shalom. Shabbat shalom. Praise Yah. Don't be offended, my people. I wanted to do it this way because I wanted to. The only way you can pull the treasures out is you got to go into the darkness. And there's a lot of treasure here, man. These people, they got a lot of love in their heart. They got a lot of the right stuff. It just has to be pulled out and polished and turned into a vessel. A precious stone. It's got to put it on its placement. To make a necklace out of it, give it use. Give it purpose, the real divine eternal purpose. So don't knock it. Like, man, you're in the world. You're in the world, man. Nah, that's what love does. Love is gonna. These guys save whales and dolphins. They go places that most people don't want to go, especially Mexicans. We don't even like going in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? We just want to eat our burritos and do the work and drink our beer. These dudes are going out there like saving animals that like you wouldn't think like doesn't really benefit them, but because they care about animals. Like, see, there's the whales. See, you hear the whales? The whales sound even manifest in the background. These guys go out there and save whales for no reason, but for a reason, because they care about Kai. They care about the living animals and organisms. They go out there in the ocean deep. We ain't got no business going out there. They go out there and do it. So they got some, they go out in the darkness. There goes the whales, the dolphins. It's because they care about them. And that's what love does. So I'm trying to be like them, follow that Judah example. I'm going into the deep ocean, saving whales. I'm saving them. I'm trying to bring that word, let them know, hey man, your ecosystem is great on the natural scale, natural level, but there's more above the surface of this ocean of the world. There's an eternity. There's a sky where you can breathe the air of the ruach, the eternal divine breath of Yah, out of the ocean air of the worldly substance, the worldly construct, buy, sell, trade, buy, obey, consume, enjoy, pleasure yourself, vanity, superficiality, materialistic, culture. It's all dead. It's just gonna kill your soul. But if you focus on the word, focus on the inner man, trying to be more like him, eternal peace, love, and joy, just be thankful to him, have a connection with him, and keep his commandments. Little things. Hey, commemorate the day, the creation. You love the creation so much. 6 days, Yahuwah created the Shamayim and the earth and the ocean, the sea, and all that's in it. And he rested on the Sabbath day, the seventh day. He rested the seventh day. He didn't rest on the first day. He didn't rest on the third day. And so we have 7 days of the week ever since the creation narrative to prove that narrative is true. Why don't we have 8 days of the week right now? Why don't we have 6 days of the week? Why don't we have 4 days of the week? We have 7 still because it's a divine number that Yahuwah created to make sure it would stick throughout, even if it got lost throughout history, like at one point, it stayed connected. It got brought back because it works, and Yahuwah's in charge and he's in control. He said, nope, my paradigm is still going to be there, so they can't say we can't find my word. My Bible's still going to be there. It's going to get printed throughout the earth, so no one has an excuse. 7 days of the week is going to be there, so no one has an excuse. BC and AD is always going to be there, so no one has an excuse to know that my Messiah, the one I sent, my servant, my bond, he created the timeline of history right now. The reason we have year 2025 in AD BC is because of him. The reason we have the word, the Bible throughout the earth is because of him, because of Yah. The reason we have 7 days of the week is because of him. And so 6 days he worked, created Shamayim and the Eretz and the sea and all that's in it, and he rested on this Yom. This commemorates the day that he rested and kicked back and relaxed. This is what he did right here. He didn't buy, sell, trade. He didn't get involved with the monetary system. Bills don't matter. Words don't matter. He said, she said don't matter. The projects don't matter this Yom. This Yom, the only thing that matters is kicking back, just relaxing, And so, let your light so shine, right? Boom, check it out. Moonshine. Oh, yeah. Oh, all I did was try to turn the camera around. Moon. Look at that. It says right there. What it say? Moonshine. Let your light so shine in the darkness, right? That's what moonshine's all about. And the light is the word, commandments. So that's it. So bring substance to the earth. They don't realize it's not about us, about them. They're the treasure. We're going in to dig out the gold. They're precious stones. They're the gold in the caves. Where do you find the treasure at? Where do you find the gold and all the precious stuff? It's hidden way deep under the earth and hard ground and diamonds and all that. It's pressed down. These guys are pressed down by the pressures of the world, and they're diamonds and don't realize it. But diamonds need to be harvested, they need to be refined, they need to be molded and crafted and have use for that ring to be on the ring of the esteem of Yah, to be part of him, so he can wear them like a crown, like a royal, like a headdress, like a garland, like a necklace, like rings and diamonds and diadems. We're jewels for his esteem through his word. Once we become to agreement, we become a part of him like that. So I'm going into the darkness and I'm trying to find. I'm not finding. I'm digging it out. I'm cutting it out as we speak, just by speaking the word. They're treasures, and they need to know it for the word of Yah. And they put the mind on him, search him out a little himself. He'll lead them, and that's the beauty of it. Is that he's so trustworthy You don't need to search the right thing. It's like anything. Search him in any kind of way, and he'll know what'll best fit your inclination, your gravitate to your way of thinking. We got AI algorithms now to help, but even that's a manifestation of the way he's always operated. He was the first AI cosmic algorithm in reality. AI is just a exhibition, a product of what he does for us, But now we got AI, so the world can look up scripture and it's gonna be according to your mind to find things that suit your way of learning, your pattern, the way you would receive something. So look up the word, engage with it. Saturday, should Christians still keep it? Or proof that he's real? Grand Canyon, look up stuff about how that shows that the flood of Noah. Look up the proof of the flood of Noah. Ron Wyatt Discoveries, right? And he found the flood of Noah, the ship's there buried, and it's all petrified and still there. And they take the metal detector and it scans all the metal joints and rivets and all that stuff of the boat structure and they put out a marker and it's this boat structure and it can measure how deep it is, so they can measure that it goes 3 stories deep in this big structure. They found Noah's Ark, Mount Ararat, exactly where it said it is in Turkey. They found the Red Sea crossing with all the chariots of Pharaoh and his army. They found Mount Sinai where it's scorched at the top. You know, and this is why we blend it this way, because it keeps them comfortable in their element, but it keeps them subconsciously able to hear the word and understand it in a way that they feel comfortable. And for those of you too, there's a lot of Christian believers that you're not ready to just hear the word alone. You still gotta, it's like coming off of something, right? Inoculating, So we gotta still give you a little dose, a little nicotine patch to get you off, when you off the world. So this is for you too. I like it too. I'm still in the middle. I'm still waiting. All right, so forgive me, my phone skipped, probably because what I said, and that wasn't true to myself. I say that to be nice. I'm not really still into the vibe, to be honest, but I can endure it, but I don't hate it. It's just music. It's just background noise to me. It's whatever. But I like the fact that I can use it as a tool to blend the word, like meet in the middle, and that's love, because a lot of y'all, my own people, y'all couldn't even step in around like the world music anymore because y'all feel it's so demonic and y'all despise it. How are you gonna get the treasure out? You got to go in there. You know, what if you got like, are you able to go into a strip club and like sit there and shut up? I mean, that's a little controversial, but in a sense, like, would you be able to though? I'm pretty sure Yahusha has messengers in the skies that do that because they don't struggle with us. They're not seeing it that way. They're not perverting the image. They're not shaming what he created. You forget Adam and Eve were naked in the garden and they were not ashamed. Yahuwah wasn't ashamed. He created them. Everything is naked except us because of shame, of guilt, of sin. But originally it was not so. We're clothed in light and esteem, but we're naked. And so he probably still has messengers that to them it's like looking at dogs and cats when they look at humans naked. At the strip club, they just see dogs and cats prancing and dancing around, but they're not moved and tempted by it. Can you go in there and do that? That's the maturity of a Kodashim, a righteous select, if you're going to Shamayim. I'm gonna make an announcement. I wasn't gonna say this now, but since I kind of hit on that term, I go to Black's Beach and tan and get the body tan because vitamin D from the sun. It's healthy for you. So in a sense, I'm a nudist, but I wouldn't say nudist. I would say I'm a Garden of Edenist. I'm of the Garden of Eden. Where I can endure the Garden of Eden. See, the problem was, and I'm not gonna make the message about the garden. I'm just to be a reading, whatever y'all wants it to be. But the problem wasn't the garden. The problem was man's perversion of the garden. Once their eyes were open, they were looking at every little detail and wondering what it is and wanted to put it in their mouth. Like babies, right? They don't know. We have to teach them. They don't know what this is, what that is, because they're already born with their eyes open to look at everything. Like animals are more on the program. They're born with the instinctual program of what they're designed to do. So they grow up. Cats will start clawing. They start doing that. Birds start doing this, and everything does according to its order. We start growing up. We don't know what to do. We just start trying whatever and put whatever in our mouth, right? So that's why we can't handle the garden because we'll pervert the image, But naturally, you can overcome that. Then I mean, that's you're in. You're like a mature, like the Malakim of Yahuwah, and this is what he says that at the resurrection, you shall be like the Malakim. And the Malakim, like, that ain't no issue, nudity or whatever, And it's for us, for the flesh. So I actually did that just to finish this topic because I want to get about it. I went through nudist, like a new therapy because when I struggle with lust, I don't want to struggle with lust. If you struggle with lust and you're still struggling and it's bad, like the enemy don't like this because it's a true antidote. And I was on the fence about sharing this, but like right now I feel like the Rock just pointed out, so we're gonna go with it. I've been holding this back for like a few months now, but if you struggle like with pornographic nudity lust, like pornographic, like don't go pornographic, but if that's where you're at, then you need to respect the body more. And what you do, what helps, is look up like Amazon tribal, like new tribes of Amazon and new, because what will happen is you're gonna see it in its natural element, and it's gonna bore you. It's gonna be like not so big deal. You're gonna see nudity in a non-sexual way, and then that starts to program in your mind and your subconscious, so that your mind's not always fixated on like associating nudity to pornography, sexualizing nudity. Babies are born into this world naked, and that's why you have all these people sick in the head now, where they get all pedophile and weird with children and infants because they're so fixated on nudity being pornographic. And when you think of a born child and so on, it's already freaked out their mind. It's already, the wire, the circuiting, it's all cross wired and misfires and everything. Um, but truth be told, this is true, and my phone froze, so we're gonna give it time. All right. So the enemy's trying to take out the substance right now. The word I was saying. So like yeah, like people that have been exposed to just starts with pornography, sexualizing nudity, and then just nudity itself, like their mind triggers a stimulation where it's pornographic. And you think of a baby, well, when they think of a baby, and then the nudity, and then maybe something there crossfires and triggers and wires and gets weird connected, and they dwell on it too long, but makes that connection and it links and twists the wires, and boom, there's and then they get weird, and so that's why they get like that. But to rehabilitate that process, you go look up tribal nudity. I'm probably gonna start off maybe doing something you should start off doing something you shouldn't. Go ahead, and guess what? You're gonna flop. You're gonna flop like a dead fish because there's nothing stimulating about it. You know. If you're struggling with pornographic nudity, go ahead and look up tribal nudity, like Amazon tribes, and go ahead and whatever happens, watch. Even if you start off stimulated, you're gonna flop because there's nothing stimulating about it, and you're gonna feel conviction, the natural conviction. It's gonna sink in the ruach. Obey that. Don't force your way pushing the perversion. There's nothing perverted about it, and then you're gonna see it's gonna make you sound. It's gonna bounce you out. It's gonna let you see it the right way, the way doctors do, the way you should see born children, infants, your dad or your mom when you got to change their diaper, your elderly when you got to help them. There's nothing sexual about that. So that's the right way to think about it. And the world, when I say the world, it's the dark powers that control the world, that the elite demonic powers that control the negative dark side of the world. That's what the scripture means by the world. And do not love the world or things in it. They meant the worldliness, the wickedness of the world. But they hypersensitize sexuality and everything. That's what they want. But this is the fix. And ironically, it seems like an unconventional, unorthodox way to do it, but it's the right way to do it. It's the only way to do it because you can't do it running away. You gotta confront it head on, but find it through the avenue where it's pure and right, and you gotta face the beast and find out where the light can shine, where the water can run through the cracks in a pure way to flow right through it, penetrate it, and blast through the other side, and it's done. Shink, you just beheaded the beast. You just slayed it, passing through it. You're the sword of Yah. The way, and you do it in purity. By cross. That's what Neo did in the Matrix. Remember when Neo flew into Agent Smith? He was so over it, he just like went right through him. He just went in him. But you gotta be careful because he got coded with him, and they became one in a weird sense. So that's another story. That's another thing. But that's like when you go and you're passing through, but then you take a hidden reservation, something that you kind of lusted at or looked at that you want to pocket in for later, and then you project in a pure way, but it's still part of you. Now you're a part of that thing, and then so that thing is a part of you, and it can project your realities in a pure way. But then that perversion is hidden and coded here and there, and you don't want that either. You gotta make it pure. I know all this because some of it experience, but yeah, download like in Matrix. You hang out with Yah, he just gives you the answers to everything, like universal truths and reality. Reality's puzzles, the puzzles of reality, the math behind reality. So that's how you want to fix that. Watch the Amazon stuff, the tribal stuff, get bored till it's boring to you, and then you're done. Anytime you have a lust issue and you feel like you want to watch some pornography, put on some tribal nude stuff, and that excitement will go away, and that'll reprogram your mind, that'll rehabilitate your mind, and it'll just start going away. Now, if you have insecurity issues, if you're having a different kind of issue, and it's like on a more public way, like you like going to strip clubs, or it gets a little more socially interactive. You want to go to strip clubs or whatever kind of spot. I won't go any further than that. I won't give anybody ideas. Go. Here's where it's kind of a hard thing to do, but it's maybe a little out of your reach. But if you're near a beach, go to a nude beach. That's what I'm gonna say. Go to Black's Beach. If you're in San Diego, come to Black's Beach. If you're wherever you are, find your nearest nude beach near you. I'm pretty sure for the most part they're all kind of the same. Now, here's what you're gonna find. It's not about. Don't worry about them. You go there for you. You get naked. Because you like seeing naked people so much. You went to a naked beach. You're the odd man out going, showing up, being the weirdo. You take your clothes off and be naked too. You become one with that environment. Now watch what happens. That's gonna humble you. It's gonna check you. But I want you to connect with Yah when you do that. And I want you to think about Adam and Eve in the garden. I want you to focus on the nature. Think about how it's nothing but wind and the sun wrapping your body in the ocean. Jump in the ocean, get in the water. Have you ever felt the air, just only air wrapping your body? Because I don't think hardly anyone's ever been naked in their life ever outside their walls. It's a different feeling. It's different being naked in the shower or walking to your room or whatever versus being naked and the sun hitting you at all directions, the wind hitting you at all directions, and when you jump in the water, all directions untapped, like nothing hitting, nothing holding back. There's no greater freedom. You're becoming one because it's wrapping you entirely, completely one all over. You know what I'm saying? And it'll take you somewhere. Alone. It does it naturally, but the kick is what you see. Don't pervert. Just focus on between you and Yah. And when you see it, think of the Garden of Eden. Like this is how it should be. Now here's the catch. You might have one or two little parties. I call them hooks, and you have them off the reality. Your perspective your perspective becomes your projection, your mind, your perspective becomes your reality. So how you think is how you see things, and it'll even attract it, right? Kind of law of attract. It's law of attraction, but it's what the word says. As a man thinketh, so it is. That's actually in the word. The Bible says that. As a man thinketh, it says so he is, but it actually says so it is. So there's another connotation. As a man thinks, so it is. So it shall be. That's like Yahusha. If you say to this mountain, move, to move, like whatever you believe, like your belief will, like stay focused, it'll start to materialize into some type of reality that you're creating, that you're manipulating, to see what you do with it. Because Yah wants to make little creators. We're made in His image. He's a creator. We create because He first created. So He's giving us a practice. He's giving us a little practice run. Let me see you manipulate reality. See what kind of reality you create. And then our universes collide and coexist together. Our universes. Some people might be seeing their reality, maybe mine and theirs together, blending where they're. Because Yahuwah, He can do all things. He can mix color. Color's always gonna mix. Unlike us, we'll make it crap brown and black. He can make colors out of every color. He can make new colors that. I understand. He can make colors. He always make colors, make it come together, make it make sense. Interweave realities like a tapestry. He'll never. Brown's a beautiful color. I'm tripping about that, but you know what I'm saying. Like, make something new out of it. Make something reality blend together in a hybrid reality, cultural reality, universe reality, alternate universe realities, and all realities. All right, so that's it. Nudity, nothing wrong with it. The garden was perfectly fine until their eyes was open and they wanted to pervert it. But Adam and Eve were originally naked in the garden. Nothing wrong with the garden. The problem was man's perversion of it. We see that when Isaiah, Yashayahu, Nabu prophesied, he prophesied 3 years naked when he prophesied against Egypt. So if it's so wrong, how come Isaiah was prophesying Nabu naked for 3 years? Isaiah walked around naked for 3 years. All right. We see that when King Saul was filled with the Ruach, it said that he stripped off his clothes and laid naked, prophesying, Nabuing. So something that prophets do, Nabim, they get naked. I've been there. I was in Dallas before I even knew these stories. I was young. I barely became a Christian, and I got so filled with the Ruach, and I was talking about the word, and I took my clothes off and started preaching, and I ended up on my car, and that's what knobs do. And it's nothing impure about it. It's your mind. When you do that, you get so filled with the ruach, you get so filled with the ruach that you just free yourself from the shame. You don't have the shame on you no more, right? You get a sense of the new body in the shamayim realm, and so that's what that is. And so King Saul shot also got naked and took his clothes off, and he got filled with the ruach. Spoke, prophesied Nabu got naked. So you see that a lot. Another part was the Talmudim, the night that Yahushua was betrayed, the day before the Passover. Guess what? One of his disciples was sleeping butt naked in the sheets. It says that when the guards came, they all ran and scattered, and one of them ran off butt naked into the woods because he was sleeping naked in the sheets. He didn't grab his stuff. He just ran off naked. So I mean, that's kind of weird sleeping naked around your dudes, but it's like they didn't see it that way. Like dudes was like kids. Like they had that brotherly love camaraderie where it was like the football players in the locker room. Like teammates. People that have that close camaraderie. They shower together and bathe together, get naked together. Like they're not looking at that. I go to jail and all the races are showering together, naked, laughing and talking, singing, telling jokes. The whites are in there naked together. Then the homies go in there and they're singing all the corridos and all that, showering naked together, not even being weird. How come that ain't weird? But then it's like weird anywhere else other than where it says it's weird. It's all programmed. For example, it's like oh my, like women get all freaked out when you catch them like undressed, like as far as like bra and panties, right? Like let's say they're in the bra and panties or something, right? But then when summer comes, they go pretty much bra and panties to the beach and are with confidence and showing up. I'm like, what the heck? Like, just because the material changes doesn't make it like you're covered up. You're actually showing less than what you were bra and panties, but you're ashamed of the bra and panties because it's under or for whatever reason. It's just psychological. But then you wear bra and panties to the beach, and that's okay. Something's wrong with that, folks. You know, there's a lot of things wrong that I won't touch into, but there's a lot of things that wrong, but I won't go into all that. You can number them for days. But one, for example, though, I will give you like that's off topic from that I'll give you is the law about you can't drink and drive. They say you can't drink and drive, but guess what? You got to drive to the bar to drink. How you supposed to get home? I mean, now you got Uber, but back then it was like it's not like everybody could walk to the bar back then. Like the bars, like especially in Texas, Texas, you got to drive like 5 miles. You're not gonna walk back being a little drunk. So like, it don't make sense because everybody like you go to a bar every night, like the weekends, whatever. There's cars in Texas, parking lots full. Like they might as well after they get out of the bar, instead of getting in the car, like as soon as they get in the car and drive to the park, like out the parking lot might as well park again and get out and get in line to get arrested. That just don't make sense. Everybody's got to drink and drive to get home. They drove to get to drink. Now they gotta drunk drive. They gotta drive to the bar to drink. Now they gotta drive back drunk to get home or tipsy. And all it takes is one beer to fail the breathalyzer. So it don't make sense. Like if they really wanted to, they could just stand outside. The cops hide and just pull everybody over and take them. And unfortunately, they at a flip of a coin, at a random selection, at a lottery, they choose who they're gonna. Oh, you know what? This guy, let's pull him over. Dang, you just had your whole life ruined in a lottery at a whim of a man with a badge decision to want to pull you over. That sucks. So it doesn't make sense. But yeah, it should be like if you're gonna go to a bar to drink, you should take an Uber there, walk there. Like that should be a law. If you can't drink and drive, you shouldn't drink. You shouldn't be able to drive to the bar to get drunk because you gotta drive back or find another way. Like stop you right there. Like you can't leave in your car because why even allow 90% of the people to go back drunk if you can't do it? This doesn't make sense. And then pick and choose who you're gonna do it. That makes sense. Anyways, I'll leave that alone. Nudity. That's how you deal with your perversion, with your lust. Watch the tribal stuff. Go to a new beach. Go to Black's Beach. Get naked. Get one with Yah. Read the scripture. Overcome your own. A lot of it's insecurities. Overcome yourself and your flesh. Being around and it's okay and they're okay and everybody's cool, and enjoy that. And do it as routinely as you need to. Sometimes it's nice just to do it routinely, like once a month, because it just keeps you centered. Lets you gauge yourself where you're at, where you're lacking, and it helps. Get in the Garden of Eden. That's the Garden of Eden, Garden of God. So, by definition, you can say I'm a Nazarene nudist. I thought about that. Thoughts came to my mind, like making a page called Nazarene Nudist of San Diego. Like, I don't know about that, yeah. Like, came to my mind. I don't know if that's you, but I'm talking about it now. But it's healthy. It's healthy. You're the Malakim, the Shamim in the background. Yeah. Right on. Crazy. So that's that. And lately I've been posting the polygamy thing, scriptures, because that's something that's I'm not a polygamist. I'm pro polygamy. Can't say I'm a polygamist because you gotta be polygamous to be polygamous. Like you gotta actually have wives. I'm for it, but you gotta. Scriptures obviously says you gotta be able to take care of the wives. It's in the Bible. It says if you take a second wife, you gotta be able to provide for them both. That's why the kings had a bunch of them because they were king or sovereigns. They were able to provide for all of them, and they were able to spread their name, their legacy, their seed. So that's how they become a nation quicker. I posted a scripture recently from the book of Ruth, the last chapter, I believe it's chapter 4 of Ruth, where it says, it was considered a baraka. When they had Ruth, a favorite baraka, it said, may Yahuwah make you, Ruth, barak you, may you be like Rachel and Leah. Rachel and Leah, the two mothers who built our nation, Israel. Because the nation of Israel, Yasharal, was built on two wives, two other maidservants to give Yashar Jacob Israel 4 wives. So he ended up with 4 wives and 12 tribes. 4 wives, 12 tribes. That sounds like a club right there or something. 4 wives, 12 tribes. Little teaching title. So 4 wives, 12 tribes. But you gotta be able to provide. But what does it say? Isaiah chapter 4, the latest scripture though, like on how that goes down in the end, is it says that 4 women will cling to, or 7 women will cling to one man, the righteous elect who got the understanding and are the divine favor and inheritance from Yah. And look, let's see what it says. We can go to that real quick. It says Yashayahu, Isaiah chapter 4. It says, and in that day, the time of the end, and the restoration of all things, in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, the righteous elect of Yah, saying, we shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. In other words, we got our own provision. Only let us be called by your name to take away reproach. Only let us be called by your name. It speaks of marriage. Only let us lay down and consummate the marriage covenant with you. Be under your head protection, under your covering, your divine, eternal, protective covering from Yah, to take away the reproaches like the shame of being wrong, being in the wrong spot, wrong position, wrong place, wrong time, from being under the curses, from being under the punishments coming down from Yah. And so Yah's like, hey, these are my people, and like we're gonna replenish the earth with them. They were destroyed by the world system. Your ancestors were conduits of it, were extensions of that persecution, annihilation. So now they're owed a recompense to replenish. They don't have enough women, so there's offerings to be made. make an offering, right? So 7 women take hold of one man. You see that in Isaiah 23. And look at the context of it. It says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, the righteous elect, saying, we shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. So, in other words, it's saying the man don't have to provide for these. They'll provide for themselves because they're going to be a bunch of cam models. They're going to be a bunch of the independent women, the rich, self-made women, like the only fan chicks, models, and all the best, But they're gonna have to humble themselves in their shame and like, okay, we surrender, and we're gonna have that paid back to us, right? We shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. Only I'm gonna show you where it's at in scripture. We shall eat our own food and wear our own clothes. Only let us be called by your name to take away our shame, our reproach, the punishment coming upon us. And that day the branch of Yahuwah shall be splendid in esteem, and the fruit of the earth for the replenishment shall be excellent and comely for the escaped ones of Yasharah, the survivors. And it shall be that he who is left in Sion and he who remains in Yerushalayim is called Kodash. So those who are in Zion and Yerushalayim, the righteous elect of Yah, are Kodash, dedicated, reserved for Yah. Everyone who is written among the living in Yerushalayim and him. When Yahuwah has washed away the filth of the daughters of Sion, so he's going to wash away the filth of the daughters, the women of Sion, of basically just women context, poetic license. He's going to refine the women. He's going to humble the women, and humble them and put them in their spot. And rinse away the blood of Yerushalayim from her midst by the spirit of judgment, by the spirit of burning, like gold refined in the fire. Then Yahuwah shall create above every dwelling place of Mount Sion, and above the congregations a cloud and a smoke by day, and the shining of a flaming fire by night. For over all the steam shall be a covering, and a booth for shade in the daytime from the heat, for a place of refuge, and for shelter from storm and rain. So it's gonna be, he says he's gonna create above the coverings of Yah a place for shade from sun, from protection from storm. It's poetic license for they're gonna be favored, divine protection. They won't get like plague. They won't get heat. They won't get destruction. They won't have bad days. It's gonna be nice and chill, nice days. So where do you see that? Check this out. This is going to branch down the context more. Now we go to Yashayahu, Isaiah 23. This is where it talks about the OnlyFans, right? The women. And it says right here, check this out. This is still talking about the 7 women clinging to one man. It says, and at the end of 70 years, it's talking about a certain thing that happened there of 70 years, but here's where the poetic interjection of that blueprint kicks back in, right? Like, all of a sudden, like, something takes over, like, that's connected to the reality. It says, it shall be that Yahuwah visits Sud. Sud was a nation that was known for whoring, and whoring is like they gave all their they sold to all the merchants, and they sold themselves out for hire and obtained a lot for themselves, and they were like considered like poor. Look what it says. It says at the end of it, Sud. It says at the end of 7 years, it shall be that Yahuwah visits Sud, and she shall return to her hire and commit whoring with all the reigns of the earth on the face of the land. So she returns to her hire, to her prostitution, and commit whoring with all the reigns of the earth. She sells herself out to the earth for provision, for gold. She becomes wealthy, prosperous by doing that. So she becomes like almost like a cam model or something like nowadays. And it says, but her tools or her earnings and her hire shall be Kadash. Kadash means dedicated or even separated for Yahuwah. So she gets all this provision, all this wealth. It says in her tools or her hire, in the context it's her earnings, and hire shall be Kadash, dedicated or separated for Yahuwah, not treasured or nor laid up for her gain. So it won't even be for her. She gets all this wealth, but it says it's not even treasured nor laid up for her gain. You know what I'm saying? It's not even for her. It's dedicated and separate for Yahuwah. For her gain is for those who dwell before Yahuwah to eat sufficiently and for a choice covering. What? So that goes in context with the 7 women to one man, the righteous elect, saying we'll provide our own food, our own bread. Only let us be called by your name. And here it's going into a deeper context. It says, nor their treasure nor is laid up. It says her earnings and her hire shall be Kadash, dedicated, separated for Yahuwah. not treasured nor laid up, for her gain is for those who dwell before Yahuwah to eat sufficiently and for choice covering. So they have to become sugar mamas, is what this is saying. They have to become the ones that provide for Yahuwah's righteous select. They're gonna say, here's, you can have the key to the car, here's the Benz, here's the mansion, all the treasure, all her hiring, her earnings were laid up and stored not for her gain, but for, it says right here, for those who dwell before Yahuwah to eat sufficiently. So it's for us to consume, not just food, but the wealth, the home, the cars. Like we're not gonna splurge. We don't care about it. That's the thing about it. We don't even care about it, but we gotta go to visit a friend. Like, hey, I gotta make a drive and check out my buddy's avocado ranch. I'm gonna take the Mercedes, or the whatever. I don't even care what kind of car it is. That does not matter to me. What car is there? Thank you. I just need to get to my buddy's house. I don't have a car because we were kicked out of the world originally. We got cut off, right? But now they're gonna give it to us. So what? It's sufficient for choice covering. So it's for us, for protection, for security, for us to have what we need to do what we gotta do. And these are gonna be the women. 7 women clinging to the righteous select want to be a part of that covering. They have to make those offerings for us. The food and that we have our own food, our own clothes, as we call by your name. We'll take care of the rest. We'll take care of your food, your provision, your housing, your clothing, your car, whatever you need to do what you gotta do. Now that's for our choice covering. What do they get in return? Why do 7 women want to cling to the righteous elect? What did it say about that? It says, and there shall be above every covering of Yahuwah a shade from the heat and from the destruction from all the storm and rain, right? Well, here's Isaiah Yeshayahu 32, picking that up in context. This is why 7 women cling to the righteous elect. They give us the covering of the provision and the wealth and whatnot. We give them this covering. It says, Yeshayahu Isaiah 32, see, a sovereign shall reign in righteousness. Who is that sovereign? Yahushua, when he comes back. And his rulers shall rule with him in right ruling. Who are those rulers? The righteous elect that he chooses shall rule with them. And look what it says. And each one of his rulers, shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a shelter from the downpour, as a river of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a hot, weary land. And the eyes of those who see are not dim, and the ears of those who hear listen, they shall understand. So they're going to actually okay, I get what you're saying. Because each one shall be as a hiding place from the wind. It's not literal wind, but from any kind of pestilence, bad side effect of any kind of pandemic or punishment coming from Yahuwah. We are Iron Dome. How about that? You know how the Israel has an Iron Dome? Well, the Iron Dome is really just a parabolic, prophetic, or Nabuatic blueprinted parable about the righteous elect. The real Iron Dome of Yahuwah are his righteous elect. And each one shall be as an iron dome, a hiding place from the wind, and a shelter from the downpour. What's the downpour? Is it talking about the downpour of just rain and water, the downpour of hail? What downpour? Well, let's just go real quick, a couple chapters behind Isaiah Yeshayahu 30. It's going to say what the downpour is. It says, verse 31, Isaiah 30:31. For through the voice of Yahuwah, Asher is broken down with the rod he smites. I'm sorry, verse 30. This is Yeshayahu, Isaiah 30:30. Think of a 30-30 rifle. And Yahuwah shall cause his excellent voice to be heard, and show the coming down of his arm with raging wrath and the flame of a consuming fire, with scattering and downpour and hailstones. So the scattering and downpour and hailstones is what it says. The coming down of his arm with raging wrath and flame of a consuming fire. That's what the scattering and downpour is. So it's the destruction of the world. So you go back to Isaiah 32. A sovereign shall reign in righteousness. Rulers rule with them in right ruling. Each one of those rulers shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a shelter from the downpour. It's not talking about downpour of rain, but the downpour of the destruction and the hail and from the destruction of Yah, the consuming wrath that's coming down his arm. And rivers of water, what does that symbolize? We're going to be the word of Yah, because the word of Yah is as rivers of water that replenishes, renourishment. It's nourishment to the soul. So when you get understanding and context on the word of truth of what's happening and what's going on in the world around us, guess what that's like? That's like rivers of water. Fresh nourishment, like drinking nice, cool water on a hot day. So that's what the word that we give out is like. So we're a shelter. We're like rivers of water. This is the river of water right here that you can drink from, and from a dry place. From the dry staleness of the same old mundane worldly grind, the same old. And we're as a shadow of a great rock in a hot weary land. So we're like shade. We're like a pleasantness to be around. The vibe, the ruach. You know, when you understand the truth. The eyes of those who got them, and the ears of those here listen. Who here listen. So this is what I was talking about. This is why 7 women uh, cling to the righteous elect, because they see, they perceive, they hear, they see, and they understand. They hear and listen and understand. And you go for it. Yes. Go for it. And so that's basically what the scripture is talking about. Is they go ahead and realize that 7 women cling to one man, the righteous select, and so they see that they're protecting, covering of the word of truth. So they're gonna make those early initiations, to commit. They're gonna see it, perceive it. They're gonna make the offerings. Where do you see that in the blueprint? You see that blueprint in the story of, for example, Rahab. Rahab was a type of sword, the prostitute. She saw Israel. She saw Yasharal was the chosen people, and that they're coming to take the land, that it was for them. She saw that. She was a whore. Rachel or Rahab was a prostitute, but she perceived, she knew Yah was with them. So she allowed them to come in, spy in. She provided for them, fed them, helped them out, hooked them up. And so for that, she got spared. And that's the way it's going to be in the last days. We're going to have a bunch of Rahabs that are going to, look out, hook us up when we need the help, and they're going to come to us. They're also like the Abigails. Who's Abigail? She was married to a Nabal. Nabal was one that was a Nabal means hard-headed, foolish. She was married to a brute. We call them brutes nowadays. Those who very jockey, very man's man, think that their stuff don't stink, and they're better than everybody. And they're very they can be kind of like bully, kind of talk crap about people, and think they're better than everybody, and everybody's stupid to them. Those are Nabals. So, but he's married to an Abigail, and Abigail made a foolish mistake. She was young. She just saw a man who was strong, wise, and witty, and so she thought that was security, and realized she married for the wrong reasons, and he wasn't the right kind of guy in his life. Didn't have that. But she saw King David, King Dawood. This was when he was on the run from King Saul, and King Dawood sent servants to Nabal to ask him about some provisions to help him out. And Nabal says, "Aren't there enough servants running away from their slave masters?" He's like, "Man, I ain't giving you nothing." And they heard about King David. They knew he was prophesied to be a sovereign. He was somebody. And so she got smart and sent some servants with cakes and wineskins to Dawood, so that he can have what he needed to nourish. And she bowed down before him. All right, that's my battery overheating. It's funny I said battery earlier when I was doing something. The battery came up. So it's funny who was this. What was it that showed up battery? I was writing something battery. It said battery, not battery. Anyways, in the shade, and those people came. We're gonna take over the table, and now. At first, I don't know how to take it, but now I see it like Malakim Shamaim Duadri. They're like, hey man, we're just looking out. Your phone is overheating. Literally, right now, my phone just came up overheating. So I need to kind of step back in the shade while it's going well. But, step back in the shade somewhere. I got the charge. I think we have to charge and over. So, that's yeah, I'm about to go shade. Shade. Yeah. I'm gonna do reset. There's pride and ego and opposition and all that. I would like stubborn. I could stay around, but then the phone came. You gotta wait, way out things concerned. Like shot above saying, "Oh, we come to peace, come to the positive, comes about dying over here." So we gonna share the charge. Ooh, this is better too. And then yeah. And so I'm gonna put it right here because I kind of like. I think the they say the scenic view. Yahuwah's stool. You know he I put it this way. I suffered from a lot of PTSD from like spiritual warfare and preaching the word and so I had like a weird thing with people like I get social anxiety from people. I get a lot of anxiety from people because I experience reject me and that's told on you. Like get work right here because I had to reconcile, kind of rehabilitate that thing that I feel like when I get the PTSD. So what he did, so I did social anxiety from people, and I just like I don't understand as I'm saying out loud. This is what you're doing. Is he brought me to PB like this beach area, and I'm starting to understand why because there's a lot of beautiful